What's up, guys? Ricky here. Do you love Most Valuable Podcasts? And are you like myself where things that you like, you just have to let people know because they've got to be on your t-shirt at all times? If you do, you're in luck because we got Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. You've probably seen myself, Dave, Mark, Sean, Brandon. You might have seen us wearing these t-shirts in videos. The good thing is now you can get your hands on one too. How do you do so? First off, send us an email, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your size, your address. We will then send you an invoice through Square. That's how you'll pay for it, $22 per shirt. And then after we get the money, we will send you a great Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt for you to wear so you can tell everybody that you love listening to Most Valuable Podcast. So go check it out. The directions are also in the description. What are you waiting for? We got the shirts just for you.
But anyways, let's move on now to the second segment where we talk about the 11 through 20 picks. It's going to be a little quicker. I think that was about 40 minutes of the top 10.
Top 10's always long.
And it's the first one.
It's always long.
Let us indulge. This is my favorite. These are my favorite podcasts.
Honestly, that top 10 could have been like an hour and a half if we'd gone through everybody.
Because this segment's going to be shorter, I'll throw this question out before we get into the middle. For our last 5.0, do we do a two-rounder? No. For the last mock draft, do we do a two-rounder? I'm with you, Sean.
I'll put it on if you guys don't want to do it, I'll just put it on the website. I did it before.
I will make up people's names in the second round, and I'll sprinkle them in, and you guys won't even know.
I will not say no to that. And we can make up colleges too. But let's do real players.
Northeastern State.
Let's do real players from real colleges with your 11 through 20.
My 11 through 20. All right, so at 11, I do have the Jazz taking Miles Bridges. If he falls this far, which is potentially unlikely, but the way it worked out in my first run through.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Wouldn't be shocked. Again, he has come back, and he has not looked as sharp because this whole team is just popping off.
And he's been injured.
And injuries, yes. So number 12, I have the Clippers going Kevin Knox. Perfect fit for them, a guy who could really become a star in the league. Number 13, I have the Knicks going Troy Brown. 14, I have the Sixers getting Hamidou to drop to them, which would be an amazing fit. Maybe. 15, I have the Pacers going Trayvon Duval. 16, the Trailblazers taking Wendell Carter Jr. 17, I have the Pelicans taking Lonnie Walker. 18, I have the Nuggets going Robert Williams. 19, I have the Suns taking Zanin Musa. And number 20, the Pistons taking Anthony Simmons.
Ricky. 11 through 20.
For me, it starts back up at 11 with the Jazz going Jaren Jackson Jr., the forward out of Michigan State. Then the Clippers at 12 going Kevin Knox, just like Dave had, forward from Kentucky. The Knicks going Hamidou Diallo, guard from that same Kentucky team. Then the Philadelphia 76ers going Troy Brown, guard from Oregon. The Pacers go with Robert Williams, the forward center from Texas A&M. Then my favorite name to say in the entire draft, the Trailblazers going with Chimezie Metu, the forward center from USC. The Pelicans going Wendell Carter Jr., another forward center from Duke. Then Brandon McCoy, the forward, going to the Denver Nuggets. Lonnie Walker to the Suns. And then everyone's favorite college prospect, Grayson Allen, going to the Bad Boy Pistons.
You mean the Primetime Podcast favorite college prospect?
No, I think college basketball fans love to talk about Grayson Allen.
I don't give a shit.
Everyone's got an opinion about Grayson Allen.
Just wait till you see where I have Grayson Allen going. I have a great reasoning why Grayson Allen's going there. Well, let's move into my 11 through 20. The Utah Jazz taking Kevin Knox, the forward from Kentucky. Then at 12, the Los Angeles Clippers taking Hamidou Diallo, the guard from Kentucky. 13, New York Knicks taking Troy Brown, the guard from Oregon. 14, the Philadelphia 76ers taking Robert Williams from Texas A&M. 15, the Indiana Pacers taking Trayvon Duval from Duke. 16, the Portland Trailblazers taking Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke. 17, Pelicans taking Bruce Brown from the U. 18, Nuggets taking Chimezie Metu from USC. 19, the Suns via the Heat are taking Brandon McCoy from UNLV. And 20, the Detroit Pistons taking Lonnie Walker from the U. Just fun pairings there, though, because Miami, Florida has two guys going. Duke has two guys going back-to-back, and Kentucky has two guys going back-to-back.
The only thing that I will say is just to reveal the behind the screen, we did have to do a jump cut. The thing I didn't like, though, about your second read-through is how you said the U this time.
You dropped the U.
I liked how you did it the first time because you said it in like the Chicago superfan accent.
Da you.
You're like, da you.
I'm sorry. Well, I was rushing.
I like that. That was my favorite.
Well, I'm rushing because
Way to call
limited time on the camera.
We're all
just want to make
professionals
sure.
here. We don't make mistakes.
Let's jump in though. Let's get through this because I don't want to hark on my my mistake there. But at 13, let's go to the New York Knicks because this is a team
Polarizing.
I mean, this is late lottery team. New York Knicks playing really well so far.
Unless they're really tired.
Yeah.
Then they're bad.
But so far,
hey man, it's all those back-to-backs.
Knicks have been exceeding expectations, at least in my mind. They've been playing really well.
They're picking top 10. That's right there.
And Kristaps is a monster. You look at Enes Kanter. Oh my God, insane!
What a combo those two turned into.
Be Easy. He's been fun for a little bit.
He's a former white boy.
Tim Hardaway Jr. When healthy has been really good, earning that contract, putting up 17 points a game. It's not terrible. Come on.
That contract
some
is
Tim Hardaway.
straight up terrible.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean,
It's
signed
bad.
Tim Hardaway Jr. for 4 years, $82 million.
Remember,
what were you
they
expecting?
re-signed him because they let him go, and then
They traded him.
back.
And then Courtney Lee's been also awesome for them as well.
Weird.
So, I mean, looking at all of this, not a lot of holes they have on
You've got
this
Frank
team.
as well.
Oh, and well, obviously Frank. I mean, Frank,
Obviously.
you don't need to mention him. He's
All
a
right.
silent killer out there. I love Frank. He's my boy. But the Knicks, not a lot of holes on this team. So really addressing him, I was trying to look for the future, and I looked to the shooting guard position and Courtney Lee because he's on his second year of a 4-year deal. He's 33, I believe, if my mind's correct. So looking at it, they're going to be moving away from Courtney Lee once that contract's up. Troy Brown, who I have him going with, good outside shooter, guy that can really develop into a player that could be a great shooting guard, especially with Frank being the point guard there. And Frank really showing his ability to distribute and really being able to stretch it out, opening up lanes for Frank, opening up lanes for Kristaps, and then opening up them inside for Enes Kanter. So I felt like it was a really easy pick to really slot in a shooting guard there, but it was really the decision of what shooting guard. But I like Troy Brown's ability to shoot and rise up, so that's why I went Troy Brown. But what was your guys' thought process for the New York Knickerbockers?
Well, mine was kind of similar, where I looked through it, and really the one position that spoke to me was that shooting guard. Because it's like, all right, you drafted Frank. He's obviously the point guard of the future. You gave Tim Hardaway Jr. big money. He's obviously, right now, I'd put him at small forward. Then you got Porzingis, you got Kanter. Really, to me, it's that Courtney Lee spot. And yeah, you're going to have him under contract until, 2020 is when or 2021 when he becomes a free agent. Why not go with the guy who we've said is a freakish athlete but needs the most development, Hamidou Diallo?
Mm-hmm.
Why not go with a guy that, hey, we're going to have Courtney Lee here. He's going to be our starter. So then Hornacek can mold Diallo into whatever he wants him to be.
The only thing that worries me with Diallo there is that this is a team that's going to need... I mean, obviously he's going to have 2 years, and maybe Courtney Lee's not that good when it comes to that fourth year because he's going to be 35 years old, and you don't know what he's going to be actually doing.
Peak at 32 like he is.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say that's uncharacteristic.
But he is a good 3-and-D player, and that's when they signed him, that's what we were thinking.
Yeah.
So it's not crazy that Courtney Lee's performing the way he is. The only thought process, though, at 35... what is he going to... do you need a player that's going to jump in right away?
Benjamin Buttoning us, though? Like at 35, could he be an all-star?
That'd be amazing. But no, I don't think so. But I look at it, and I feel like, at least with Diallo, he needs so much work. It's going to be so much dedication to really get him up to an NBA level, and you're kind of already doing that with Frank to get him to an NBA scorer. I mean, right now he's only averaging around 8 points per game. He's great defensively, Frank is, but I feel like you're going to need someone to pick up that offensive slack. I had a weird dream that Trae Young fell to the Knicks. This was when the Knicks were not at 13.
Yeah.
This is when the Knicks were at like around 7. I just thought about the ability of having Frank and Trae Young be Frank covering 2s and then Trae Young playing the 1. It's just kind of got me just really, really excited for the New York Knicks. So if they want to trade up and get Trae Young, that would be ridiculous.
If he's there at 7, they could trade up.
I would love it. Maybe I thought the Kings would be a team that moved down. Maybe the Knicks make a move for Trae Young.
Yep.
Not thinking that's going to happen.
Well,
going with this, I thought Troy Brown, though,
they
at least
need a 2-guard, though, or they need a backcourt mate to Frank is what they do. And, I mean, the thing is, like, you guys had Troy Brown.
Yep.
That would if Diallo is off my board, that's who I would have them take. But the thing is, I look at Diallo, and it's, yet again, with me, potential. Let me play into that potential and see. I think the potential for Diallo is better than Brown in my mind.
I don't think you're wrong with the potential there, but I think you look at Troy Brown, pretty young kid, one of the younger kids in this draft. I think around like 18. He just turned 18 like 4 months ago. He also has a ton of size, 6'7", but he is, he could play the 2.
Yep.
In my mind, I know he's a bigger guy, so having that length with him and Frank would be absolutely ridiculous out there. I feel like he's got that athleticism, though, and that outside shot, or at least the ability to become a good outside shooter.
My only question with Diallo going to the Knicks, though, is Jeff Hornacek the guy? Like, I get that coaching in the NBA is going to be better than college. Sorry to Coach Cal. However, is Hornacek the guy you want to develop? Like, are you being like, Hornacek will be able to develop Diallo into the guy that
anything
he wants?
wrong. I mean, I'm a big fan of Hornacek.
Well, I'm just saying because Hornacek on our coaching rankings was towards the bottom.
Yeah, but he didn't have a team last year, and now you look at what he's doing with the team, and he's doing really well. And Porzingis is developing. Cantor's really come on both offensively and defensively. I know he's already great offensively, but defensively he's coming on really strong. And Frank hasn't looked lost out there. This is what really we expected from Frank. I don't know exactly if they just have enough time to put towards Diallo and Frank
because of the
having
age
that
of
dual
Cornelia.
young backcourt. While you have somebody like Cantor who is in his prime, and they're again
and Porzingis who isn't in his prime, but he is a guy that is an injury risk just because of his size and the way he plays.
This team is 1 year out and maybe a good free agency period away from being an 8th seed in the East. This is the goddamn East. You have to remember that. Like being a lottery team and being in the playoffs is like a win or two away.
God forbid they get LeBron James, right?
My thought was maybe the team behind them, Philly, they're not able to match that 1 year, $20 million contract they're giving to J.J. Redick, and maybe J.J. Redick goes to New York.
Oh, come on. You know that was
Imagine
upfront payment, so that way next year they get him on the cheap.
It
was an unofficial 2-year deal.
I'd love it.
I'm pretty sure
you're just afraid that J.J. Redick's going to be leaving the greener pasture or bluer pastures in the Big Apple.
Yeah,
so
maybe going somewhere.
But I feel like Troy Brown could be a really effective player. I think that he's a better basketball,
and he's got a decent handle for a bigger guy as well.
And he's a better basketball player right now than Diallo, and I feel like that's what they need right now is a better basketball player. But let's go to the 76ers because Dave has Diallo there.
I do.
And we love talking Sixers here.
Time to develop, man.
On the Fast Break Podcast.
Spot.
And just to put it out there, according to Spot Rack, JJ is up at the end of the year.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we know.
Okay,
It was a 1 year, $20 million
deal.
deal.
Mentioned something about a second year.
No,
That's
he was saying
The nudge, wink, wink.
okay.
like, oh, hey, we gave
Like
you 20
sign one
Because
So
he
if
was
you
really
take-
worth about maybe 15.
Yeah, so if you take 8 or 10
Next
year,
year.
we'd really
Okay.
appreciate it, JJ.
Yeah.
No. He signed a 1 year. Same with Amir Johnson as well, but they're not going to be bringing his bum
Yeah,
ass
no,
back.
he's been fucking terrible.
But with the 76ers, our favorite fast break team, you have Troy Brown going there. You have Diallo, the flip, obviously. What do you feel, as being the resident 76er fan, what do you feel Diallo brings to this team?
Right now, I mean, he brings explosiveness off of the bench. Like that would be his role. He's there to attack the rim, to be aggressive, and to be a long defender who gets in people's way. That's exactly what you want out of this guy because he doesn't have to come in and perform for you day one because you have your core. This is bonus money. The Sixers are playing with house money. You have to remember that if that Lakers pick doesn't go between 2 and 5 this year, it goes back to the 76ers, and they get to play the same game next year with the Kings pick. So it's not like they're not going to be loaded with picks. This is pure bonus. This is take the guy who has the most potential left in this draft, and that is Hamidou Diallo, because he is a freak athletically. And if he came out last year, we talked about it, he would have been 20 to 25 range. So, again, this is a guy who's only improved his stock a little bit, but still has all the physicals. Why you want him?
I think he's got like a 44-inch vertical, too. It's something stupid. Looking at Troy Brown, how do you feel he fits the 76ers?
Well, the main reason why it's exactly like Dave said. The only thing that this team could really lose at the end of the year is J.J. Redick. However, with them, Fultz coming back from an injury being next year, it's really, okay, we lose J.J. Fultz is in there. What are we going to draft?
Fultz is going to come back this year.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Back next week.
Yeah.
In the draft, we'll be drafting for next year, and I assume that Fultz will be back next year because he's under contract. I go defensive. Like it's all about
wouldn't be?
It's all about defense with Troy Brown, and that's what I look at. Where he can be a guy, even if they play Fultz at the 2 because Ben Simmons is your point forward. Brown can come off the bench when they need him defensively because he's not. Yeah, he can score and attack the basket.
Defensively,
but
Fultz
he's
will
not
still guard
scorer.
ones.
Yeah. No, but I mean,
at
Troy
6'5",
Brown can help
doing things.
defensively, is what I'm saying. He can help in the defensive front.
My thought process here was they need a shooting guard, and most of the kids behind this, at least behind,
on your draft,
Robert Williams, can't shoot.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. They don't really have a true point guard. I feel like maybe that would be the other guy to really rack up a 6 and push Fultz over to more of a shooting guard role, and maybe I don't know, there was not a guy that really jumped off my board and said 76ers need to take this guy, because Brown, Diallo both gone, Kevin Knox gone as well. I went with Robert Williams at least here because you look at his ability defensively, and when Embiid is off the floor, putting in Robert Williams, there's going to be a dip, but he's not that big of a dip because this guy is a stud defensively, and having him come off and playing with Dario probably, that would be something that's really scary because you're not losing offensive talent because Dario's great offensively. Obviously, you're pretty much getting Embiid just split up into two people is what I'm trying to say. Because defensively, Robert Williams looks like he can be a guy that could be a lockdown defender down there. And you look at Saric, we've seen the offensive potential in Dario, so maybe he will be able to pick up some of the slack that Joel is taking off the floor. So, offensively, I don't love Robert Williams. I know this team is forward loaded, but I feel with his ability defensively, he's got such a high ceiling that you really can't pass up Robert Williams. And I know, again, it's ridiculous just because they have Saric and Covington and Simmons and Embiid and all these forwards, and also Rashawn Holmes as well.
That's what I was going to say.
At the center. I feel Williams, though, is a higher potential than Rashawn Holmes. Holmes, ridiculous athletic, though. I feel Williams is a better basketball player. And that's why I would go with Williams.
The thing I like most about Williams, and I know I had him a little lower on my big board, was his motor and how he, when it's a loose ball, he's going to go after it. And that's the thing where it's he's going after a loose ball, but you can't teach that. You can't make a player want to have that kind of a personality. And that's the thing I like most about Robert Williams. And if you went to the 76ers, when Embiid is sitting, you can still have he's not the same offensively, but you can have someone out there at the center position to lock it down inside scoring and defense.
Yeah, he's a great athlete and added strength. And that was the one thing I didn't like about him last year. And he's added strength this year. And I feel like that's something that is going to – it's not improving his draft stock because he was around a 10th pick, 11th pick for me last year. But now I feel like this is more of a solid prospect, and I would feel safer taking him, where last year I was a little bit iffy on him because still that offensive potential isn't there. I don't really see him being that great offensively, but defensively he looks like a lockdown stud. And looking at the Philadelphia 76ers, this is a team that this year could possibly be a playoff team. Next year, most likely going to be a playoff team. And having a guy like Robert Williams coming off the bench could absolutely change the game and really shut down a player where if you're looking at the East, if you have a guy that's just absolutely killing you on the inside, and I don't think that would be happening because of Embiid, but if you need to take Embiid out just because of Embiid's injury history, minutes restriction, whatever's going on. I know playoffs are not going to have a minutes restriction, but still, you don't want to outrun Joel Embiid. You're not going to lose that defensively, and that player on the opposite end isn't going to be killing you, and Robert Williams can at least bring that defensive mindset to your team and really help you out. So I like what Robert Williams there. I know they're loaded forward-wise, but, this is a playoff team that's super young, so they're going to have most of their positions filled out. It's just about drafting potential and making sure that you have the depth on that team. So really a depth pick there for the Knicks and 76ers, where you look at the Pacers, Trailblazers, Pelicans, Nuggets, they need players and guys to fill out the starting lineups. So let's go to one of those teams in the Pelicans. Obviously, DeMarcus Cousins coming up after this year. Anthony Davis in trade talks. We talked about it, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
One of the weeks. We're not sure that Anthony Davis is going to get traded. We're not thinking he's going to get traded, but because he's locked up until 2020.
Celtics could blow the load if they get the 2 pick. Who knows?
2021, he's locked down till. So looking at the Pelicans, Rondo on a short contract, Drew Holiday's still there, but really it looks like Drew Holiday and AD are those two guys that are going to be on there. Outside of that, they need players. So looking at that, I went with Bruce Brown, a guy that you guys had in the top 10 earlier. Really athletic player, could really pair well with Anthony Davis. I like Bruce Brown here because he's got a bigger frame, an athletic guy. I feel like pairing with Anthony Davis could really be explosive, and Drew Holiday can bring at least the shooting and the scoring ability that I feel like Bruce Brown kind of lacks a little bit. But the thing with the Pelicans is they don't really have the guy that they need. They need a guy like Luka. They need a guy like Trae Young. They need a guy who is able to take over a game on that outside position, or even a Kevin Knox to fill in at that small forward position. They need a guy that's going to be a forward, or they need a true point guard, and I feel like they're not getting that, and there's not a guy that I would take over Bruce Brown in this draft class, at least where the Pelicans are currently sitting at 17. Ricky, though, you had him going with Wendell Carter, so pretty much a replacement for Boogie.
Well, my mindset was, and call me crazy for this, but I looked at two of the main contracts are coming up at the end of the year, DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo. And if they got to the end of the year, I don't think they should, because if you're trying to move anyone, it should be Boogie. I would, out of the two, rather draft a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. and then re-sign Rondo, because the contract would be cheaper. And I don't think this, with Cousins and Davis in the front court, I don't think you're going to win a championship with that front court. So I would push to trade DeMarcus Cousins, but if we're sitting there and I'm picking to re-sign either of them, I'll pick Rondo to re-sign. I'll go with Wendell Carter Jr. And then Anthony Davis, I can be like, you know what? One of you will be the 4, one of you will be the 5. I would probably put Davis then to the 4 and have Carter be my 5.
I disagree with your mindset. I would rather keep DeMarcus Cousins because it's DeMarcus Cousins, and I don't care about how much money he wants.
Yeah.
I will pay him that money because he's
the best center in the game.
Yeah, he's a game changer.
Call me crazy.
No, I understand.
I don't even know why you're worried. Like, Rondo's contract is minuscule for what he's doing for them, unless he just suddenly decides that he's like, I'm a $10 million player this year.
He might, because he's been taking cheap contracts. I mean, you don't know what his thought process is. I mean, you don't know what his thought process is. I mean, Rajon Rondo is like one of the most biggest enigmas in the NBA. So, I mean, I think that DeMarcus Cousins should be your number one idea to resign. But the thing is that are they going to resign him?
Yeah, I would.
Because are they going to have him on his team to resign him? Because are they going to trade him?
I would resign Rondo. Like, this is the end of the year. Let's say we don't trade him. I would resign Rondo. Okay, Boogie, it's been nice. I'm going to go after a different free agent with that money, and then draft a guy like Wendell Carter here at 17.
I would rather draft a guard and then keep Boogie because it's Boogie. What are your thoughts, Dave?
I'm in the same as you. That's why I had them go with actually your backcourt mate and Lonnie Walker. I think I like the kid. I think he's still a little raw, but
he was also injured beginning of the season. Meniscus he tore.
Yeah. So I think you might be getting him at a discount if he's available here. Again, the draft is about potential. I think potentially he could be a good NBA player, and I think if you get him here, solid fit for the team going forward. And like I agree with you on the you're throwing money to keep Boogie there, because having him and AD, and I've gone on rants about this, is something that no other team can counter. And if you can correctly use them, it's a matchup abuse, and having somebody there to help in the backcourt of the future as Rondo transitions out of the team, you need someone who has the ability to be a primary ball handler, and that's something Lonnie Walker could be.
My thought process is Bowen will, not Bowen. I keep wanting to say Bruce Bowen.
I know, right?
Bruce Brown will at least be able to step in and contribute more, and I feel like they're a playoff team, and they want to be in the playoffs more consistently. So AD isn't thinking about leaving. So DeMarcus Cousins isn't thinking about leaving. They want to keep them happy. Yeah. I feel like Brown will give them the better chance right away. I feel like that will be their thought process to keep winning, keep fans in the seats, and keep their players on their team. I feel like Brown gives them a better chance right away, but I don't disagree with your thought process of, hey, let's draft a guard for the future, because when Rondo and Holiday get older, we'll have a guy there. And I also don't disagree with you, Ricky, at least in your thought process. I mean, I don't think they let Boogie go, but if they trade him...
No, I would trade him would be the option.
If they trade him, then if they still have Boogie after the trade deadline, they need to re-sign him. You can't let Boogie walk for free. Or sign and trade. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll sign him and keep him on the team. But I think that if they do end up leaving him, I think Wendell Carter could be a really good fit there. But the thing is that
a lot of work.
Yeah, the thing is though, he's already off my board, so that's why he's not getting taken by the Pelicans.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about the mock draft is I had him on the board, but it's like, Sean, you had him off before. That's why I couldn't have him in this situation.
Yeah, Dave and I had Wendell Carter going before.
The Pelicans to the Trailblazers.
Yeah, to the Trailblazers. So what we're going to do now, real quick, who is your favorite prospect? We have a very little minute time, so just keep it quick. Who's your favorite prospect that we didn't talk about?
Mine is easy. Grayson Allen, number 20 to the Pistons. This, to me, if there's any one prospect that fits a city and fits what a team is all about, he just is everyone hates him. Jesus Christ. The Pistons embrace that usually. Piston fans, you know what? They hate you. Come in. We're going to love you. Bad boy for life. The bad boy Pistons.
They need a point guard, in my mind. So I don't think they're going Grayson Allen because they just drafted his buddy in Luke Kennard.
They have like 3 2 guards right now who are legit.
And they got Avery Bradley.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So my favorite.
But wait, with the culture, I agree with the culture.
That's what I'm saying. It's a pick where it's based off of if there's any one player.
The bad boy Pistons want the guy who's crying on the court because he's cranky. That shows heart. That shows toughness. That's what the Pistons are all about. That's Detroit.
I'm going more on the fact of everyone hates you. You know what? You're one of us. It's like...
All right. So my favorite pick prospect out of this current grouping is Zanan Musa. He's an international player who is a phenomenal shooter. And outside of that, nothing. But who freaking cares when you can launch the ball with the accuracy that he can? I just think that someone with his size, worth the pick. Because look, if he can grow his game out, anything beyond his amazing shooting is bonus. Like, you come into the league shooting the percentages that he can shoot, it's game over. Like, he's already an NBA player, he's a rotational player, but he's on your team and he's getting minutes.
My favorite prospect is Brandon McCoy from UNLV, 7'1" center. Was born in Chicago, Illinois, but went over to San Diego, California for his high school days. But this kid is impressive. I know you're probably afraid because UNLV. You got what's his face, Anthony Bennett over there. But looking at it, I'm not too afraid by it. And Brandon McCoy,
he's a Chicago kid,
absolute stud.
Just like,
and looking what he did,
like Anthony Davis.
Look. Anthony Bennett?
No, I was talking Bennett didn't come from Chicago.
No, I know. He was Canadian, but I was talking Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, I know.
From UNLV.
Dave said just like, and I thought, Bennett's not from Chicago.
But real quick, Brandon McCoy against Arizona, 37 minutes, 76% from the field. I know Ayton doesn't play defense, but still, he put up 33 points. Looking at him, though, he looks like a physical stud. And I really like that he has the ability to shoot from the line as well. So that maybe will show that he has the ability to stretch it out a little bit as well at 7'1". He looks like a great athlete, so I really like Brandon McCoy. Out of UNLV, he's my favorite prospect, at least that we didn't talk about from 11 through 20. But let's move on.